Right now on Good Morning America First Look, the race to contain that deadly virus outbreak on a cruise ship. People in at least 2 states now being monitored amid questions over how many people were allowed to return home after being on the ship.
Widespread damage after severe storms hit the Deep South. We hear from a man inside his home when the roof was ripped off.
Gas prices up again this morning, what some states are doing to ease the burden for drivers. And as Wall Street hits new highs, new information on suspicious trades in the oil market.
The questions raised as Jeffrey Epstein's alleged suicide note is made public.
The social media star facing criminal charges over shooting an alligator.
A beaver goes on the attack while a boy is fishing.
The deaf siblings hearing their mother's voice for the first time, thanks to a medical breakthrough.
And the woman making ultramarathon history, beating the field of women and men.
From ABC News, this is Good Morning America First Look.
Good Thursday morning, everyone. I'm Sophie Flay.
And I'm Hannah Batal. We begin with new information about the deadly virus outbreak on a cruise ship.
People in at least 2 states are now being monitored for hantavirus after previously traveling on the ship, which remains at sea. This raises new questions about how many people already returned home after possibly being exposed. Here's ABC's Lionel Moise.
This morning, global health officials and those in the U.S. are racing to contain a deadly hantavirus outbreak as new cases emerge linked to that cruise ship in the Atlantic. KLM Airlines now saying one of the ship's passengers, who later died from the virus, boarded a flight in Johannesburg before crew members decided she was too sick to travel. Dutch health officials are now contacting the passengers who were on that plane. Meanwhile, Switzerland has confirmed a new case of the virus in a man who'd previously been on the ship, the first confirmed case in Europe. Here in the U.S., we learned overnight that people in at least 2 states, Arizona and Georgia, are being monitored. So far, no symptoms have been reported. The ship was initially carrying nearly 150 passengers and crew, including 17 Americans. But some passengers were allowed to leave the ship before the full extent of the outbreak was known. One passenger still on board was quoted by a Spanish newspaper saying 23 people disembarked at an earlier stop, adding there are 23 people wandering around there, and until 3 days ago, no one had contacted them. The World Health Organization says contact tracing is now underway.
It's an incubation time of about 1 to 8 weeks where the symptoms are developing. It's like flu-like symptoms. You have pain, muscle pain, fever, feeling weak, etc.
The CDC says it will be monitoring the health status and preparing medical support for all of the American passengers on the cruise, adding the risk to the American public is very low. The rare virus is typically spread through exposure to rodents, but this particular strain can spread between humans through close, prolonged contact. 3 people who were on the ship have died. The ship is expected to dock in Spain's Canary Islands this weekend, where passengers will undergo health assessments before being sent home unless their condition prevents travel. Sophie, Hannah.
Lionel, thanks. Hundreds of homes and buildings in southern Mississippi are damaged or destroyed after severe storms, including a suspected tornado. New video shows homes ripped apart. The damage is reported across Lamar, Franklin, and Lincoln counties. No fatalities were confirmed overnight, but multiple injuries are reported. We hear from one man whose roof was blown off his house.
One man was looking outside Brother Keith Graves, and he said it's coming. So we just started praying, and people started singing, and I was over here by the wall, and this wall was just moving back and forth. We didn't realize at the time that the roof was gone.
A firefighter is among the people injured. The storm also brought down the steeple of a church. We'll check your forecast in just a few moments.
Turning to the war in Iran, President Trump is claiming new progress in negotiations while gas prices keep rising here at home.
This morning, more states taking action to address high gas prices. Indiana's governor suspending 2 gas-related taxes to save drivers nearly 60 cents per gallon. Kentucky's governor pushing a similar move and calling on Congress to suspend the federal gas tax.
They thought the war would be short, that the Iranian people would rise up. They were wrong, and now the American people are paying for it.
Prices, which now average $4.56 a gallon nationwide, are exposing the gap between the rich and the working class. A new report finds lower-income Americans have already cut back on their gas consumption, while wealthier households have simply increased their spending to keep their consumption levels steady. Stocks hitting new highs yesterday as new data reveals suspiciously timed trades in the oil market during the Iran war. For example, hours before President Trump announced a ceasefire last month, traders bet $960 million that oil prices would fall. And moments before an Iranian announcement about the Strait of Hormuz, $760 million in bets were made.
They want to make a deal. We've had very good talks.
President Trump reporting progress in negotiations with Iran. Sources say the administration has sent Iran a one-page memo of understanding, laying the groundwork for 30 days of talks on issues like the future of Iran's nuclear program. The proposal calls for Iran to lift restrictions on ships in the Strait of Hormuz. In return, the U.S. would ease its blockade of Iran's ports. Iran remains publicly defiant, mocking Trump last night. One negotiator claiming Operation Trust Me Bro failed in reference to Trump suspending his plan to protect ships in the strait.
Despite concerns about gas and oil supplies levels, President Trump says he's not imposing a deadline for Iran to make a deal.
More than 100 victims and businesses have now filed lawsuits over the UPS cargo plane crash in Louisville last year. 15 people died after an engine detached from the plane. The civil lawsuits claim UPS, Boeing, and others allowed the plane to fly in unsafe conditions, crashing into a recycling facility. Some of the people inside that facility spoke to ABC's Matt Rivers.
When I stood up and was completely engulfed in black smoke and flames, I didn't think I was going to make it out of that building.
UPS and Boeing not commenting on the lawsuits, but they expressed support for those affected.
Let's turn now to the Jeffrey Epstein scandal and his alleged suicide note made public the same day a member of President Trump's cabinet faced questions on Capitol Hill. Here's ABC's Andrew Fujii.
We are now getting our first look at the cryptic one-page note purportedly written by late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein before his first suicide attempt in jail. The note reading in part, "They investigated me for a month, found nothing. It is a treat to be able to choose one's time to say goodbye. What you want me to do? Burst out crying? No fun, not worth it." Epstein's former cellmate said he found the note in a book days after Epstein's suicide attempt in 2019. There's no confirmation Epstein wrote it. At the time, he told a psychologist, "I have no interest in killing myself." But less than a month later, he hanged himself in his cell before he could go on trial for sex trafficking. If the note is real, it raises questions.
It's not clear why it languished in a court file for years and was never turned over to investigators. If it can be authenticated, it does provide a window into Epstein's mindset in his final weeks.
Please step to the side.
On Capitol Hill yesterday, U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick testified before a House committee about his ties to Epstein.
Why did you keep in contact with Jeffrey Epstein after he pleaded guilty?
During closed-door testimony, Lutnick acknowledged interacting with Epstein 3 times, including a 2012 visit with his family to Epstein's Island, years after Epstein pleaded guilty to sex crimes. But several Democrats claim Lutnick dodged their questions and demanded he resign.
Howard Lutnick is a pathological liar who is enabling the most egregious cover-up in American history.
He was evasive, nervous, he was dishonest.
But committee chair James Comer insists Lutnick was transparent.
This is a habit of the Democrats on this committee coming out telling you all stuff that was said that was not said.
Republicans say they'll release a transcript of Lutnick's interview at some point. Former Attorney General Pam Bondi is expected to testify about the Epstein files later this month. Hannah, Sophie.
Tributes are pouring in for Ted Turner, the media mogul who launched CNN. He also created other stations, including TBS. Turner was a philanthropist. He helped to conserve millions of acres of land, becoming one of the largest private landowners in the U.S. His ex-wife, Jane Fonda, saying he had a big life, a brilliant mind, and a soaring sense of humor. Men like Ted aren't supposed to express need and vulnerability. That was Ted's greatest strength. He challenged us to think big. Turner had Lewy body dementia. He was 87 years old.
Time now for your Thursday weather.
Good morning. Numerous tornado reports over southern Mississippi later Wednesday and Wednesday evening. Large and destructive tornado near East Lincoln. The storms continue into the morning hours, but shift to the Gulf Coast of the Carolinas today. We're warming in the west. Denver goes from snow to 65 to 70. Cooler in the northeast. There are the storms along the Gulf Coast of the Carolinas. Valdosta up to about Norfolk during the afternoon hours. You see the big rains. Could be some flash flooding here. We're drying out in the northeast, turning cooler for now, but warmer by later in the weekend. That's your forecast. I'm ABC News senior meteorologist Lee Goldberg.
Coming up, a one-on-one interview with the Supreme Court justice who says America's biggest enemy is itself.
But first, a major development in a decades-long mystery surrounding the murder of a college student.
And later, the woman who just made ultra-marathon history.
Beaver.
We're back with a beaver going on the attack as a boy was fishing in this New Jersey park. Officials now saying the beaver was rabid. That boy was treated at a hospital. The confrontation ended with the beaver being thrown back into the water. It was later captured.
We turn now to a major development in a decades-long mystery surrounding the murder of a college student.
This morning, a renewed push by investigators in one of California's most haunting cold cases.
Mr. Flores, you have been a cancer to society.
Authorities serving a new search warrant at a home tied to Paul Flores, the man recently convicted of killing college student Kristin Smart nearly 3 decades ago. Investigators in San Luis Obispo County say the new search is part of an effort to finally find Kristin's remains.
Kristin has been a missing person for longer than she was alive.
The break in this case was fueled in part by Your Own Backyard podcast, which uncovered new witnesses and reignited public attention, which eventually led to Flores' arrest and murder conviction in 2022.
It's a surprise. It's been, 3 years since the trial ended.
Prosecutors say Smart was last seen walking back to her dorm room at Cal Poly Tech with Flores in 1996 and was never seen again. Now, investigators are back at it, searching a different property, which records show is owned by his mother, hoping this time to finally bring Kristin Smart home.
It's been 26 years, and so hopefully they're just turning over every stone now. Kristin's mom turned 80 just a few days ago, and her parents are still waiting for answers, and this would be perfect timing.
Flores was sentenced to 25 years to life and was ordered to pay the Smart family $350,000, but the family said it would forgo payment if he reveals where her body is.
President Trump may soon be flying on a new Air Force One, a gift from the royal family of Qatar. An official says the $400 million 747 will be delivered July 4th. The Air Force says security modifications are complete and the jet is being painted. Trump accepted the plane despite conflict of interest concerns.
Coming up, the social media star now facing criminal charges over shooting an alligator.
Also ahead, the deaf siblings hearing their mother's voice for the first time thanks to a medical breakthrough. Back now with a rare one-on-one interview with the Supreme Court Justice.
Neil Gorsuch spoke to our Lindsay Davis about facing personal attacks from President Trump after he ruled against his tariffs. Gorsuch says, despite the criticism, he's determined to stay independent and fearless. He reflected on the ideals of the Declaration of Independence, which helped build this country.
None of this is inevitable, and it isn't inevitable that it will survive. America's biggest enemy is itself, I believe. We have to recommit generation after generation if we're going to carry those ideas forward. What keeps me up at night is disagreements that we have and our sometimes incapacity to realize the humanity of the people we disagree with.
He calls the surge in personal attacks against judges dangerous, but says criticism comes with the job.
He's one of the best known faces of the so-called manosphere on social media, an influencer known for extreme content. But now the man known as Clavicular faces possible jail time because of a shooting involving an alligator. He's the face of the so-called looks-maxing community. A movement of young men who take extreme measures to improve their appearance.
Yo! Say what's up to the gym!
But now, Braden Eric Peters, who goes by the name Clavicular, faces criminal charges for firing a gun at an alligator while live streaming. Peters and 2 other influencers were streaming a boat ride through the Everglades in March when they came across the alligator. In the video, the three are seen unloading multiple shots and are now charged with a misdemeanor for unlawfully discharging a firearm in public. It's unclear if the alligator was alive at the time of the shooting. His attorney says Peters was following the instructions of a licensed airboat guide, adding no animals or people were harmed. It's just the latest controversy for the 20-year-old. He was arrested in March after being accused of instigating a fight between his girlfriend and a 19-year-old woman. Authorities claiming he posted the fight on social media to exploit the two women. Beyond his legal issues, Peters has faced criticism for the extremes he takes to improve his looks, including hitting himself in the face to improve his jawline.
If I punch myself in the face, I'm going to get like a nice mewed-up jaw.
Yeah, bone smashing's legit.
He admitted to using multiple medications to enhance his looks, even claiming to have taken meth to lose weight. He was hospitalized last month after emergency crews responded to a suspected overdose during his live stream. Peters is due in court in Florida later this month and could face jail time.
Well, there will be no Triple Crown winner this year. That's because Kentucky Derby winner Golden Tempo will not be running in the Preakness. His trainer says he needs more rest. And in the NBA, the Knicks held off the 76ers 108-102, taking a 2-0 series lead. Timothée Chalamet was there with Kylie Jenner. And in the other game, the Spurs blew out the Wolves.
Coming up, the skinny on fast food portion sizes, one CEO's controversial statement.
Plus, Lindsey Vohn's potential monster comeback. Time to check the pulse. We begin with a little boy and girl hearing their mom say, "I love you" for the first time.
Oh, I love this. 5-year-old Reagan and her 3-year-old brother Emery were both born deaf, but now they can hear thanks to a gene therapy that was recently approved by the FDA. The clinical trial changed their lives.
We couldn't imagine our kids growing up and knowing that this was a possibility for them.
Both children were born with a rare genetic condition. Next, Lindsey Vonn one step closer to a major comeback.
Yeah, the 41-year-old attended Monday's Met Gala using a cane as she recovers from her broken leg. Despite that, Vonn was just nominated for the upcoming season of the U.S. ski team. She still faces at least one more surgery.
Here's another incredible athlete, ultramarathoner Rachel Entrekin, finishing first in a 250-mile race in Arizona. That's first overall, beating both the men and the women in the race, finishing in just over 56 hours, breaking the previous record by 2 hours. Next, Chipotle has a new message for customers: ask and you shall receive.
The company's CEO says anyone who wants more food, whether it's rice, beans, or toppings, just has to ask for it. He promises the staff will never say no.
Yeah, they've been accused of reducing portion sizes. The company says there's been no change.
Next, a real bear scare.
A Colorado homeowner found this bear sleeping in the window well of a basement. Wildlife experts used a tranquilizer, got the bear inside, and carried it out.
And they released it back into the wild. Top headlines next. Checking more top stories, the cruise ship at the center of a deadly hantavirus outbreak is sailing towards Spain's Canary Islands. 3 people have died. Health officials in Arizona and Georgia are now monitoring people previously on the ship. And KLM Airlines says one ship passenger who later died briefly boarded a plane in South Africa.
Officials in Iran are now reportedly reviewing a one-page proposal from the U.S. aimed at ending the war, including 30 days of negotiations. President Trump says a deal is close.
A major drug bust in this Los Angeles park. Authorities arresting 18 people and seizing about 40 pounds of fentanyl. That's worth about $10 million.
A warning about bootleg GLP-1 weight loss drugs. A company called Made in China has reached a settlement to stop selling its medications in the U.S. The knockoff drugs are not approved by the FDA.
Today's weather, severe storms from Alabama to the Carolinas as Mississippi cleans up from damaging storms last night. And Denver will be in the 60s one day after a snowstorm.
And finally, a pair of traveling cats.
Here's Danny New.
On this National Tourism Day, we are meeting a man who is proving that you can travel with your cats.
Which one are you holding now?
This is Todd.
And that's Louie.
In the past 2 years, Lazar here, along with his pals Todd and Prince Louie, have visited more than a dozen countries, national parks, and state parks. In fact, during our interview, they were chilling in a hotel in Tokyo, although Lazar was actually not allowed to relax.
I started showing our followers how they would, how I was training them to go to different environments, be comfortable with being in the swing, shopping.
He can't stop holding your hand.
All in all, Lazar says it took a few months to get them comfortable with traveling, first starting with quiet streets in a Chicago neighborhood before building up to noisier spots like shopping malls. In fact, using that same step-by-step principle, Lazar has now been able to take the kiddies skiing in Austria, which apparently made Todd real cozy.
Within 10 minutes of putting him on the backpack, he just started snoozing.
Also, they've even gone kayaking together, and I think Todd's reaction there is going to really blow your mind.
He was curious for like 30 minutes and then he fell asleep.
It seems like they can nap through anything.
Especially Todd.
Perhaps not surprisingly, 2 years into traveling together, Prince Louis and Todd have amassed millions of followers on social media. But Lazar says that was never really his goal.
My goal was just to inspire other people to take their cats with them so that they don't have to leave their kitties behind.
And Lazar did acknowledge that, of course, not all cats can travel, guys. For example, my cat Pepper, not a big fan. Although I did manage to take her fishing at home. See? Look at all the goldfish she caught. I'm so proud of her.
Very impressive, Danny. That's your Good Morning America First Look. Have a great day.